maybe not.
You hearing it? You confused? Shoot. Karen.
Rebecca.
Hey.
Hey, do you have someone named Matt attending the meeting? Matt?
That's my husband.
Oh, okay. He's just watching it then. Okay.
No. He's not watching. I think it's because of I'm using his computer, but I changed my name to Becca.
No, there's a Matt as an attendee, and I didn't know if he was supposed to be part of the,
Matt from St. Luke's.
okay, so yes, he should be a panelist then. Hang on. Let me get rid of this. Okay. And I don't think David is, I don't know if David can hear or see us right now.
You know if Lenny, if Zoom has its own volume controls?
I don't think it does. I've looked on there a few times to see if there was a separate volume control for it. I didn't see it in the settings or anything.
I found it.
You found one?
Yeah, I found it. It's under settings, and if you go to audio, it has a microphone volume and then a speaker volume. But I
Oh,
think-
okay. Okay. You're out of the actual, okay. I got you. You're in the, where you do your background and all that. Okay.
yeah, I think it's just because my husband's playing video games really loud, so I'm gonna go tell him to turn it down.
No, that's all right.
Hey, Lenny, I have a question for you when you have a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the meeting packet, I have it open in Adobe. When I share my screen, like, am I able to do that in presentation mode, or does it have to be in read mode?
No, go ahead and open up your presentation now, and you can hit share. You'll see what it looks like. You actually browse to it, and it does. I don't think it has to be in presentation mode unless you're going to click through it. But yeah,
Okay.
go ahead and share your screen, and it'll like to let you browse to that document if you've got it open already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I see yeah, I do see all the tools. So whatever you see with all your tools and stuff there is going to show up to that little menu.
Yeah.
Now you can change the view.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll still be able to.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, perfect.
And then you can, yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it like this because we do just scroll through during the meeting.
Okay.
And there's like 1 or 2 times that I'll need to exit out and pull up another document, but I just wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, you should be able to easily, you actually can use your Adobe tools if you want to also to actually highlight stuff and circle stuff if you want to.
Okay.
If you have that already on your thing.
Just make sure I have. So are you seeing this email that I have open now or no?
I see 3 pages of the packet, kind of small.
So I
Yeah.
have to close out of that. And then if I want to share something different, I have to go back to the share screen.
Right, and whatever, like I said, if you've already got it open, then you just kind of highlight what you want. There you go. Now I see that.
Okay, awesome. That makes sense.
Okay, and Matt said that he's just here to watch. David Hill will be speaking for the church. So if you see, I don't know if you saw that in the chat. There's a chat box.
Okay.
And David Price, I don't see his camera or his audio. He may be able to see and hear us maybe, but he's not be able to say anything or won't be able to see him. We might have to give him a call and see if he can reconnect. I'm not sure the mistake people are doing. I don't know if they're saying don't join with audio or video, or saying no to that, or not sure when they're asked, but I don't see his camera or microphone.
Hmm.
We also have a Donna Sands as an attendee right now.
Donna should be a panelist because she's
Okay.
she has an agenda item on the.
Okay. I just promoted her to panelist.
Okay.
Rebecca, can you hear Donna Sands?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Rebecca. This is Donna.
Hey, Donna.
Oh.
We're just gonna make sure everyone's set up correctly
Want to
to
sit
see and talk and everything.
Go get it.
When you guys aren't presenting your agenda item, just make sure that you mute yourself.
I think Rebecca's got a picture of this already.
I can actually mute them also, if or it'd be easier to mute yourself. But until you're ready to say something.
I was just saying that when you guys aren't presenting, if you could just mute yourself, that way there's no background noise. And if
Okay.
you can't see how to mute that, Lenny can do it for you. But
No, we're good.
Becca, can you hear me? This is Beth.
yes, I can hear you
Perfect. Okay.
loud and clear.
Great.
Hey, David.
Hello, Beth. How are you?
I'm
I don't know
fine.
if she,
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello, Becca.
hey,
Can you hear me all right?
I can.
Okay, I've got earphones, but no, I'm using the device's microphone. Is there something on here where we're supposed to be able to punch a button to say we want to talk?
You can raise your hand. Here, let me close out of that. I think when you go,
Is that share place?
I don't know. I think Lenny might have stepped away for a second. Let me see if I can figure it out.
Are you on Earth? Or are you from a place far, far away?
Far, far away.
She's in her own galaxy.
Mm-hmm. It's safer that way.
Absolutely.
I know there's a way to raise your hand.
Let me see if it happens under share.
What'd you say?
Hello, help. It's the only thing we're dealing with tonight, the Lutheran Church.
No, we have 5 agenda items.
I thought this was the special meeting.
No, this is, it is on the agenda, first on the agenda, but we have 5 items total that were supposed to be on the April 7th meeting that got canceled.
Okay, where do I get that agenda?
I sent y'all an email with the Dropbox link and the agenda, but I can resend it again right now.
Okay, I got confused by too many emails.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So I haven't done my homework.
That's okay. I think the projects we have, three items that are old business, so they've already been before the board, and then 2 that are new, but relatively simple, I think. I say that now, but
I'll go for simple. Beth,
Yeah.
have you had any of Claire Chapman's pastry that she delivers up to Somerville?
No.
Oh,
I wanted to try her tomato.
it was fantastic. We had one last night. We're gonna have another one tonight.
What did you order?
You order through St. Honoree, Honore pastry, and she delivers once a week at 4 o'clock in front of, on Thursday, on Wednesday in front of Stefan's place. And
What
we
what
got-
did you guys order?
we got tomato pies, we got a thing of focaccia bread, which was huge. And I got a order of cinnamon rolls, which are
Oh
just
my,
over.
that sounds wonderful.
Was you remember who she is?
No, I don't.
She was a pastry chef at the Woodlands, and then when the Woodlands closed, she went to the Sanctuary, and then she went to Peninsula Grill,
I
and
was
then
about
she.
She was involved with Peninsula.
So how do
What?
you get in touch with her, David?
It's Saint Honoree Pasta, STHONORE.
Okay.
I think you can just go on their website and do the order, can't you?
Yeah,
It's Saint Honoree.
she's been primarily doing pastries for the high-end restaurants, and when they've dialed back, she decided to give a whack to seeing if there was anybody that wanted to buy retail. And yesterday was her second week coming to Somerville, and she said she did 3 times as much business. When I got there at before 4 o'clock, her car was parked halfway down the block from Town Square, and further along than Accent, and the line went down almost to Richardson. With people being properly socially distanced, but it was a long line. And you know, when I was about 2/3 of the way down the line, and when I picked my stuff up, there was still a long line behind me.
Oh my gosh, that is wonderful.
So she says she may have found a new business model.
Absolutely. You know what's going to come out of this. Yeah, and it's
Yep.
really good. Everything's great.
Yeah, I think there are going to be some restaurants that are going to do very well out of this. There's been a lot of exposure for restaurants I never heard of that have really interesting looking foods. And
So what else have y'all tried?
we had last Friday was our anniversary, and we let Brett and Keith fix dinner,
Nice.
deliver it up, and it was very good.
Sure.
And yeah, it wouldn't be really great for somebody who didn't know how to cook properly, because you do need to warm it back up. And if your idea of warming up was sticking in a microwave, you ruin it.
That's true. Oh, good food sounds really good right now.
There's the lady who's running this quarantine and takeout food thing on Facebook. I can't remember the full name of it, but she's a chef's wife, and she started out just sharing places that they like to go when he wasn't cooking, which
Right.
were kind of hole in the wall places, which is where chefs usually like to eat. And one of her favorites that I never thought about going to is this Celtic Knot, which is a little hole in the wall behind the transmission place across from where Graves used to be. And she says the food is wonderful.
Really? That's kind of hard to believe. I've seen that over there, but kind of always wondered if it was legit or not.
Yeah, I was kind of afraid to go in it.
But it's really pretty authentic.
That's what she says.
Awesome. Okay, I'll have to give it a try.
Yeah.
When this is over. What time is it?
Y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. So, you know, Phil will get us started at 6. Hopefully, we'll have more people on by then.
Okay.
I actually don't see David Hill on here just yet, and he's the first item, but hopefully they'll, oh, there he is. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, which has the presentation. You know, just let me know if you need me to stop or go back to something.
Okay.
And Becca, I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody
Um,
until and except for Phil, and then I'll unmute them as you know they need to talk. That way you don't get the background noise and the squeaking and the squawking and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
You have not entered any numbers. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by pound. You have not entered any numbers.
Hey, Becca, it's Tim Kennedy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, thanks.
Hey, Tim.
Morning or afternoon. Is that Phil?
Yeah.
This is David. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
David, I sent you the meeting packet with the Dropbox link and with the agenda attached too.
Back up on my phone, it says it's 6 o'clock.
Okay, we can get started if you want.
All right. Oh, there's Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
We got everybody that said they were going to be on.
I'll stop share here.
Becca, it's Ozzy Boshane. Can you, I've never done this before. Am I on?
I can hear you, Ozzy.
Okay, thank you.
We have
You ready?
Tim, Jeff, David, Phil, Beth. I know Cecile said that she might to attend, but I think since we have a quorum and we have our first applicant here, we can go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and turn the screen share back on.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Philip Dixon, Chairman of the Board of Architectural Review, and we welcome you to our Board of Architectural Review Board meeting. It's now 6 p.m. on the 23rd of April, 2020, the time scheduled for our meeting to begin. We realize that because of external circumstances, this meeting is being held through an electronic media called Zoom. And because it is new to most of us, there's a real possibility of mistakes. So please bear with us. I am told that while anyone can log into the meeting, only the participants will be able to speak. This meeting is being recorded so that I ask each one of us state their name before they begin speaking. Depending on the size or complexity of a project, each applicant has the opportunity to present a conceptual or master plan for our review prior to committing funds for a full set of design plans and specifications. Approval of a concept means that we might agree with the concept while disagreeing with some of the details. It also means that each phase of the project must be submitted at a later date once plans are more fully developed to obtain the board's final approval for that individual portion of the project. Hopefully, any disagreements will have been worked out before the applicant comes back to the board. At least one of the projects being reviewed this evening has been submitted before and is now ready to be considered for further approval. For those of you who may be new to our meeting, our charge is to look at each project purely on aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale, and in harmony with the historic district in the town of Somerville. We look at the overall street scene. Although we are not required to solicit comments from anyone other than the applicant and the board members except for demolition requests, we usually choose to allow others to express comments that might help influence our decision-making after the applicant has presented the project and the board members have resolved any questions they might have. Unfortunately, because of the method we have been forced to utilize, public comments may only be typed in through the chat feature of the webinar. We do our best to review these as they are received following the discussion of each agenda item. Public comment was also accepted prior to this meeting by email and phone. As always, we will review each submittal in the order that it was submitted. However, as a first order of business, we must approve the minutes of our last meeting, which were sent to board members for review prior to this meeting. Are there any changes that need to be made, or do I have a motion that they be accepted?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
This is Jeff, second.
Please respond with a yes or no when I call your name. Jeff?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Cecile? Beth?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And mine is yes. Well, our first project for tonight, let me get it, is 206 Central Avenue. Final details for the new church building. Will the person presenting this project identify themselves and go ahead with their presentation? For board members, please remember to identify yourself as you ask questions.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. This is David Hill. I'm a senior architect with Goff D'Antonio Associates, and I am representing St. Luke's Lutheran Church there in Somerville, the applicant. And this church has been before the board a couple times already. And in our last meeting, we came up against a couple issues that the board requested additional study on. And so I had submitted a few documents and a few sketches and some product information per the board's request. And as far as I know, that's what we're here to do tonight, is look at those two things. The first is represented in what's on the shared screen here, the elevation of the western facing face of the multi-purpose room, which is the lower elevation that you can see on the drawing there. And it would be the right half of that. So what we're looking at is a revised elevation scheme that does a couple things. Number one, the elevation on the top of the page there is the elevation that faces Central Avenue. And there's a little bump out, as you can see on this top elevation, that comes out towards Central Avenue a little bit. And so in reconfiguring the west elevation, which is on the bottom of the page, we started looking at some of the elements we already had in play there. And one of which was this larger, I can't tell, I think that's a 4x6 square gridded window. And then above it, a 2x2 smaller square window. And so we brought those elements around to the west side of the elevation of the multipurpose room. And when you look at that, what we've done is we've replicated that 4 times across the west elevation. The 2 central elements there are done out of spandrel glass, but they're still in the same aluminum frames, same color. And then above, and then the 2 outer windows are clear glass. And above all 4 of those elements are clear glass in these 2x2 square windows to replicate what's on the south elevation facing Central Avenue. So I open that up to board comments before we get into the second issue here.
This is Tim Kennedy. I think it looks good and you've responded to what we requested. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is David Price. I agree with him.
This is Rachel, and I concur with Tim. I think this is a much better solution that fits the 2 sides together.
Good. Thank you.
If no one has any further comment on this, I'm going to move to the next slide.
So I know this is a package that went out to everybody. And what we got talking about in the last meeting was the color of this spandrel glass that we've proposed. So not only on the previous west elevation we were just looking at, are we talking about those 2 central elevations being out of spandrel glass because they're behind the basketball goal. And conversely, on the eastern side is the back wall of the stage that serves this multipurpose room. And obviously we don't want a big wall of clear windows behind the stage, but on the other hand, we also didn't want a big blank wall on the eastern elevation. And so I had brought a couple samples physically in with me to the last meeting that showed different colors of spandrel glass. One was a blackish color and one was more of a brownish color. And I'll be perfectly honest, it's hard to know exactly what those look like from samples. It's always going to be different in terms of how the sunlight is hitting it from the outside, how lights are on the inside. It's hard to evaluate that until you get it in place. But that being said, what I did was I went around and I pulled out, I don't know, Becca, you might remember better. There's about 6 different pictures here of different colors of spandrel glass. And it ranged everywhere from a white spandrel glass that you can see in the upper photo here. So if you look at the upper photo, obviously it's a piece of more modern architecture as opposed to this church that we're doing. But in every case, and I'm realizing one of the disadvantages of this format is you can't see me pointing at the pictures here. But anyway, in every case, you can see that there is in the upper picture, a grid of windows, and the taller windows have a clear spandrel square panel below them. I mean, a clear glass panel below them, and then a opaque white spandrel glass above them. So for example, I was trying to show different examples of different color spandrel glasses spandrel colors of glass in place. This third page, these are both examples of a gray spandrel glass. Again, the surrounding colors are better represented in the reflection. True of the clear glass also. So I guess to wrap up my part of this, and we can go back and look at any of these pictures in more detail, I went everywhere from a gray spandrel glass on the top of this image to a bronze spandrel glass, which is on the lower image. Becca, if you wouldn't mind going to the next page there, even to a white spandrel glass. And then there was on the top here in a grayish black spandrel glass. If you go to the third one, third pair of images, both of these, even though the one looks blue and the other looks gray, that's a function of the colors they're reflecting in the ambient environment. And I think after looking at all these and doing these, that my recommendation here and what I've submitted to the board is to allow us to pursue gray spandrel glass, which I think will, number one, reflect the colors as closely as possible to the areas where we have clear glass. And also I think number two, it'll render the colors from the interior to the exterior as close as possible to the interior glass. And number three, it will look as close as possible from both the interior and exterior to what we're working with. In this image, you know, obviously what we've done is we've rendered those two central panels on the lower elevation as a gray. I don't think there'd be that much contrast between them, but from a drawing and representational standpoint, that's what we wanted to show. So again, at that point, I will open it up to comments from the board members.
This is Rachel. I concur with you that I think gray would be the best fit. When you look at windows from the exterior, just normal glass does look dark, but not black. And so I think that a gray gives that best possible match with the other windows that you're going to have. And the other colors would, like, I don't think a bronze would work, and I think a black would be too black, and the white is not appropriate. So I concur with you that the gray would be the best fit for your project.
Okay.
This is Jeff, and I also agree that I think gray would be the better color of all those.
This is David, and I agree.
This is Beth. I have to rely on your professional opinion, but I think that it is what we're looking for. I think anything that would look similar to the natural glass that's already going to be in there, I think is what's going to be best for the church. So I agree with your opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Were these all of the items that needed to be presented tonight, David?
Yes, sir. To the best of my knowledge, those were the last two items we had to get approval on.
Okay, do we have a motion for the project?
I make a motion that we approve the project with these two items.
This is David, and I second.
All right, again, we'll vote like we did on the other. Jeff?
I agree, aye.
Rachel?
Yes.
Cecile? Beth?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I agree also. So wish you well with your project, David.
Thank you very much. I wish you well on the rest of your agenda here.
Thank you.
It's a little tricky, but it'll work.
It's something different, as if for sure.
All right, y'all. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Our next project is 114 Pine Grove Avenue, new construction of a detached garage. I saw one of the family members there.
Agree, Mary.
Good. Donna, will you tell us about it?
We're proposing to build a garage that is 32 feet by 24 feet, building height of 21 feet. It's to replace an old shed that was in the same general vicinity. The shed has already been torn down. It was damaged in this last little hurricane event we had. So we're now in the process of asking for the bar's approval. We're proposing that the exterior colors of the building will be white with a black metal roof. It will match the existing structure. The siding will be hardy plank. And we're proposing that the metal roof will be a standing seam. I think I sent a picture of a sample. Let's see if you can see this.
I have it. I'll pull it up too.
Okay. It's a fairly simple design. We've tried to keep it pretty much in keeping with the style of the house.
I just have one question. I'm asking if you could confirm that you are showing that the roof pitch is a 12-12 pitch and that the building size is 24 by 32. And so I'm just confirming that it really will be a 12-12.
That's what the drawings show, yes.
Okay.
Is that a design? Is this a pre-made kit or, I'm sorry, this is Tim Kennedy. Is that a pre-made kit or is there a reason for the pitch to be so high, for the roof to be so large?
It's a pre-made kit.
And can you get a lesser pitch than a 12-12? That's a really deep pitch.
I don't know. I don't think so without going back and getting drawings modified.
Is there a loft or anything in this barn or?
There is. There's a storage loft.
There's a storage loft over there. So that's why you're doing it. Okay.
This is David Price. The profile of that metal roof is not what we usually approve.
Can you give us clarification? We're not, 100%. We have to have that particular roof style.
We usually have it's a flat panel without any elevations in the panel, with a 1-inch height of the crimp.
That's what we have here. That is flat.
So what we've shown you is a 1-inch crimp.
Can y'all pull the panel back up again, Becca?
Yep.
Put the picture back up.
Grab it.
Yeah, so the 1-inch height is what we normally, we can't tell from this little picture. It's really hard to
It is
tell.
1 inch height.
If you look on the bottom right-hand corner where it says 1 inch.
Yeah, it's just, it's about an inch big on my screen. The picture is about an inch big on my iPad. So apologize.
It's a 1 inch standing seam.
Yeah. So the striations, we don't normally allow. It's normally a flat panel. So see how you have those little pencil ribs running across the panel? So there's like 1, 2, 3 of them running across the panel. And also normally 16 or 18 inches wide is the maximum width on that panel.
This is 16 inches wide. It was 16 inches wide. And these extra little crimps are negligible when viewed from the ground, but they add significant strength to the metal roof, which would prevent it from being damaged in a hurricane.
I'm not sure who that is talking.
That's my husband. Why don't you
Gotcha.
talk
Okay.
to them? Why don't you get in the camera?
Yeah, it does. I don't believe the striations add anything from a strength perspective to the hurricane.
They do. I'm a mechanical engineer and they do add significant strength.
Well, we'll just have to agree to disagree on that.
Sure.
So typically, we don't allow the striations. I can't see, what does that say on the far left hand? Does that say 3/4 and 1, is that 2 different profiles? I'm sorry, I just can't see.
No, the 1-inch standing seam, this is how they lock together.
So on the left-hand side, what does that 3/4 say over there? I'm sorry, again, I just can't read this, I'm sorry.
All right, so on one side, you have a 3/4 inch standing lip. So when the piece adjacent to it fits over that 3/4 inch, and then they run the seamer along it to create the standing seam and make it waterproof.
And make
Okay.
it 1 inch. So the 3/4, I guess, fits underneath the 1 inch.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. And so, and normally this panel, and you say that's 16 inches between the seams, is that what it is, or 18 inches? I'm sorry.
16 inches.
16 inches. Okay. Well, I'm fine with the panel other than the striations, is my opinion. So,
Likewise, this is David. I agree with him.
This is Beth. What is on the main house? What roofing material?
Right now, it's asphalt shingles. What we plan to do is the next time we re-roof the house, we'll match the roof to the garage.
Sure. Okay.
sure. And I think that's an awesome plan for that. It would look great. Other than the striations, I don't really have any problem with the rest of the garage. It's pretty far back. You really can't see it very well from the road.
You can't see it at all from the road.
Right. So I don't have anything with you guys matching the house one day. I think it's even more important that the panels be flat because that's where it would be visible. So
Well, the house
other
is
than that, I think it looks
unseeable from the road. And if I went back, I would use the exact same manufacturer and the exact same product.
No, he's saying that he'd prefer that you not have striations.
No, he's saying that in the future that we wouldn't use serrations. And I'm saying I would use the exact same panel.
no. I'm saying the striations on the house would be even more problematic because you would actually physically see that from the road. So I would want, if you're going to match that to the house one day, it's even more important that the garage would have.
You wouldn't be able to see those serrations from 10 feet away.
This is Beth. I agree with Tim in keeping with what town. I don't see the striations being used.
So what I'm hearing is that you'd prefer that the metal roofing not have the striations.
Correct.
Correct.
What does the rest of the board say about that?
This is Rachel, and I concur with Tim that the 16-inch spacing with the 1-inch ridge, like little ridge height, and the smooth panel in between is what we have typically approved on all our previous cases. And the little ridges, I would not like to see on this particular project, given that it's going to go in the house later.
And this is Jeff, and I would say that because that's what we've approved before and we stuck to it, I would have to say the same here.
We're gonna have to go with flat. You okay with that?
No, I'm really not.
But it's what they want. Have you approved striations for any projects?
I don't recall us doing that. Does anyone else remember if we've done that?
This is Beth. I do not. Have you consulted the manufacturer to see if they offer that product?
This manufacturer does not offer a flat profile. And without the serrations, again, I'm a mechanical engineer, it does add stiffness and rigidity to the panel so that you don't get the wall, 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 wall. If wind gets up underneath there and it's a flat panel, it's going to act like a wind sail. By having these striations, it significantly stiffens the can. It's the same as soda cans and a can you have in your cupboard that has food in, a soup can. If you feel it, it has serrations in it because it adds strength to the metal. That's how they're able to make it so thin, is these profiles add strength to it.
This is Rachel. I would suggest that there are products that are available that are designed to withstand our wind loads. And given that the precedent for our town is the smooth panel in between, I would suggest to my board members that we remain consistent with what we've previously approved and ask for the smooth panel in between.
I'm just gonna chime in here real quick. I have the guidelines out in front of me. So under guideline 53 in the Board of Architectural Review's historical district guidelines, under roofing material, letter F, we have standing seam roofs should have a maximum seam height of 1 inch. The panel should not exceed 16 inches in width, nor contain stiffer ribs or lines in the flat portion of the panel. Avoid striations in the panels. So it's in the guidelines. I mean.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have to.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll modify the plans to act accordingly.
David Price.
Okay, thank you.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Is the clapboard on that project going to be vertical like in the drawings, or is it going to be horizontal?
That's going to be hardy plank, and it's going to be, how do you call it?
What?
It's not going to be like it is in the drawing. It will be
Horizontal.
horizontal.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
That's the existing structure.
Yeah, I think that would look better.
It will match the existing structure.
It will match the existing structure.
I thought there was an existing structure.
Talking about the house.
Gotcha.
okay.
This is David Price again. What about corner trim boards, fashion boards?
We're planning on using hardy plank for all of that.
Yeah, but what's the design of those? Are you going to have corner boards?
It'll be a smooth board, just like you see in the rendition.
No. Where's, you have the pictures of our house in there?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I think because it's not 100% clear in the drawings, we're asking, are there corner boards? There we go with these little, so it said a 1x4 corner board.
Okay. Now,
And then
Yeah,
what
it does
is,
show it.
and what is the trim that goes around the doors?
That would be hardy plank.
It'd be 3/4 by 1, 3/4 by 4 hardy plank. trim board.
3/4 by 4 hardy plank trim board.
Okay.
Just like the existing structure.
I think given the location of it, where it's located, I think it's okay. If they'll put the 1x4 trim boards and then trim boards on the corner, which I think it says right there, 1x4 or equal.
Yeah.
Right there, I think it looks fine.
I would concur with that, Tim.
Well, with that said, I would
Yeah.
move that we approve the construction of the detached garage as long as they use the flat panel roof as discussed.
We will do that.
Okay, I second that motion. This is Rachel.
Who was it that made the motion?
That was Jeff, I'm sorry.
Okay,
What was the color of the metal roof?
I'm sorry.
What was the color of the metal roof?
Black.
black.
All right, thank you.
All right, please vote yes or no. Jeff,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Cecile, Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
and I vote yes also. Thank you very much. I'm sorry you all had to put up with, this is our first enterprise in this, so thank you for putting up with us trying to learn.
Thank you for your
Appreciate it.
time.
Hopefully,
guys.
when you come in with the next one, we'll be able to sit there and talk to you in person.
Hopefully there won't be a next one.
Well, you said that about the roof. So, all right, our next one is 106 Congress Street. New construction of a single-family residence and detached accessory workshop building.
Yes,
Do we have somebody here?
that's me. Can you hear me, Becca?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I
Thank you, Carol.
think, hi there. I think it was January when I was in front of you before. And after I left that meeting, I actually found a house plan that I liked better. So this is the actual footprint is virtually, I think it's almost exactly the same as the other one. So in terms of where it sits on the lot and so on, but physically, obviously it looks different. And I think it actually fits the street. Personally, I think it's a nicer design for where it is. And the other thing I realized after pacing the lot and doing a little bit more sort of physically walking out there, I felt where I had originally placed the garage, it felt very cramped. It was, the garage was sort of on the left of the house on my first application. And it just didn't feel like it would work very well. And I think this proposed change is a better usage. I was sort of torn between whether I would use a garage as much as I would use a workshop, or I wasn't sure which way I would go because I work with stained glass. So I just wanted somewhere to be able to go that wasn't inside the house. So that's why on this application I said ADU/workshop, because I hope to maybe do some work out there. The other thing I might like to use it for is visitors, to have a space where they can stay overnight and so on. I often have my sister here from England and she comes for lengthy periods of time. So I would prefer if I could do something like that. What else can I tell you about it? So the actual size, I think on the plan that you have, I think it shows that it's 35 feet wide. And I have asked the architectural firm to change it to 40 feet wide so that it would have exactly the same footprint as the other house plan that I first came forward with. And there are a few things I wanted to ask you about, actually, about the plan. I wasn't sure if I wanted the chimney because I'm not sure I want a fireplace. So I didn't know if I'd be allowed to, the way this drawing shows, just not have the chimney at all. So that was one thing I would like to change about it. What else did I have written down? I was hoping to go for a metal roof, and I looked at your guidelines, and that's the sample I requested, although I'm sure you guys have seen this before, this kind of thing. But that was what I got from a builder. And I was hoping to use white, hardy plank siding, horizontal. And pretty much, I like the picture the way it shows, the way it is right now. The only thing I didn't care about this particular picture, above the front door, they've got sort of a, I'm not sure what it's called. It's like a semicircle. I think I would prefer just a little bit something, a simpler transom rather than that semicircle. And beyond that, I really liked everything else about the house.
This is David Price. I like changing that transom to the simple transom. It goes well with the.
Yeah, just something straight across. Yeah.
Yes.
How do you guys feel about the chimney situation? If I'm not sure if I want the chimney at all, do you feel like that will take away too much from the design?
This is Jeff. I don't see a problem with that, and I think this house will look really nice on Congress Street.
And there's a very similar house actually already on Linwood. And funnily enough, I'd taken a picture of it a long time ago. And when I found this plan, I realized how much they looked alike. So I probably should have just knocked on the door a long time ago and asked them what the plan was. And in the picture they show, I believe it's called 2/2. I'm not sure how you describe those windows where it's 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I like that just the way it is. Personally, I like that. The only other suggestion that a friend who's a builder made to me was that the plan that's here is on a crawl space, and he suggested a raised slab, but I didn't know if that was an option even or not.
This is Rachel. If you do an elevated slab so that the house is still up from grade about the same amount of height, I would suggest that it would still be appropriate and look nice within the historic district. And by the time you put in your foundation planting, whether or not it's screening or not won't be visible. And I agree that from the point of view of ongoing maintenance, ease for you, it would be, I think, a better construction. So I would be fine with an elevated slab that's about the same height above grade as what you've got in your drawings here, and then finish it with a stucco or something so that it's, looks attractive.
Okay, yeah. And I was hoping to use bricks for the steps going up to the.
That would be nice.
Area.
So just this is Rachel, and I have one more question. You're wanting to do a white house with white trim. I'm not sure I know what color you want to have for your windows or for the roof.
The roof, they actually told me the color and I didn't write it down. It's similar to the sample I just showed you. It's kind of a gray, like a gunmetal type gray. It's
so it looks like Galvalume.
Yeah, it doesn't have a name written on it. The new house that just has been finished on Marion Street at the corner of Salisbury, it's the same color that he's used. I'm not sure of his name. I know his wife's name is Carmela, but it's the same color metal roof that they used.
And what about the windows? Are you doing a white window, or are you going to go for a contrast with a bronze or black or something?
To be honest, I was hoping to go with white and then use the shutters as the contrast.
And what
Either
color?
Black or probably a black or the Charleston. I think they call it Charleston green in the historic brochure, but it almost looks black.
Yeah.
It's quite dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Use that as
Well,
the-
I would be happy with your white siding and white windows and a stucco on the foundation wall. I'm not sure what color you're really thinking about for the roof. If it's a Galvalume roof, which is within our historic district, I would accept that. If it's just gray, I'm not sure that that is something that's within the historic district. So maybe we need to clarify that.
Is Galvalume the color? Sorry, is that different?
So Galvalume is that finish that is that kind of silvery finish that you've seen all around the historic district, which is different than just a gray, like a solid gray color.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
but that metal looking silver is Galvalume, and it is a historic finish.
Okay, I'll find out. I actually got my thing from a metal roofing company, so they're pretty I would hope they're familiar with
Right.
you like. And if what would my other alternative possibly be to stucco? Is there another alternative on the raised slab if stucco wasn't something that I like the look of? Is there something else that's a possibility?
Brick.
Brick, that'd be great. I'd rather
Brick would add cost, and it would be difficult to then do your
Oh.
water table trim because the brick sticks out beyond, like it goes on the face of the concrete. So you get kind of a clunky edge as it goes over the water table trim. So stucco is an easy finish because you then can have it just slide up under the water table trim and it's easy.
Okay. Is it easy to maintain?
It's pretty easy to maintain on just a concrete back, which would be, you know, the foundation of it.
All right.
Rachel, this is Tim. I'd like to add a couple of things
Yeah.
to your comments there. You know, black is also a very traditional color for a roof in downtown Somerville.
You're right. I mean, it's black, red, green, Galvalume are our primary
Right.
historic
That-
colors. I just thought because she held up a sample that looked
Yeah.
silvery, was that
Yeah.
maybe what it was?
Yeah, and the Galvalume is actually for our part of town, the residential part of town has not really been one of the main colors. You know,
Oh, okay.
traditionally they're painted roofs around here. So they were turned metal roofs. Galvalume is a really, you see a lot of Galvalume roofs now, but, and Rachel, you're an architect, so you certainly correct me if I'm wrong here. I know there's a lot of tin metal, but when I go around town, I see predominantly painted metal roofs.
No, you're 100% right, Tim, that in the historic district in Somerville, it is primarily that black, red, green. Galvalume is there, but it's by far like down on the list. It's not the most prevalent.
Right. And a couple other things just on the raised slab, Carol.
Yes.
I'm okay with the raised slab. I'd like to actually add a caveat that the raised slab has to be at least 3 feet above the existing grade or the final grade, because that gives it that cottage look, which you would get with a crawl space. And the other part of that caveat would be that the front porch be constructed in the traditional method, which is not on a raised slab. So we've done that requirement with some other folks so that, you know, you have that traditional look of a wood frame front porch. The back porch, we've allowed people to do the raised slab there, so you can have a concrete deck there on the back porch if you want to make that look. But on the front porch, we like that traditional cottage look.
Keep tradition. Okay. And when I spoke with them about possibly moving the, you know, removing the chimney, that might shift some of those windows on the side elevation. But I think it would, because for instance, I wouldn't need the way they're placed either side of the chimney. I wouldn't maybe need that placement. But when I looked at the plans, it actually only involves usually a few inches. It was very sort of minimal on the side elevations. So shifting the windows slightly, but I don't have anything back from them yet. They gave me this just as a the base set because they I didn't spend all the money on all the sets yet until I heard from you guys. So
this is Rachel again. I wouldn't mind if you shifted these windows a bit, but if you do take out the chimney, and I don't have a problem if you want to, I would suggest you need to add shutters then on each side so that the windows are finished.
Definitely. I was going to, so to the left of that chimney, that sort of multi-paned.
Yeah.
Long, I don't really care for that. So that was,
yeah.
I was thinking they should just get rid of that, which would mean adding something to the left of that to sort of balance things out a little bit.
Yeah.
Provide some light down there. So that was where they sort of said the change would happen if the chimney came out.
Do you know, if you took your chimney out, you could do this 2/2 window with shutters and just evenly space it down that long wall between the great room and the dining area and just have 3 even windows down that wall. And it would look really pretty, very much like the other side just has these spaced windows.
Yeah.
And it would look nice in your room. Like, I don't think you need to line up windows with your dining room table because you might not have that table in that location. So it gives you a lot more flexibility in the room to just have evenly spaced windows down the whole length.
Okay. And the only other thing I wondered about, and I hadn't really come to a big conclusion about this, on the rear elevation in the master bedroom, they have a not only windows, but they have a door opening onto the back porch. I wasn't
Right.
sure how I felt about the safety of a door. I don't know, for a master bedroom. So I don't know how I felt about that.
I would advise you that most of my clients want to do that, and you
Really?
can have doors that are secure,
Okay.
and so it's not a safety feature, like a safety problem.
Mhm.
But most people, if they have that choice, would prefer to have it just so that you have that opportunity to, you know, walk out and have coffee in the morning, and or open it all up on those lovely you know, not super hot days. So most people prefer it. So I would encourage you to think about it and
Okay.
see if you like it.
Okay. But otherwise, I really liked the house plan. And I was hoping for whatever I do in the back corner, I would just use exactly the same materials, just the white
Yeah.
hardy plank, the metal roof, and so on, and just keep
So
something very simple.
did you provide us with an actual architectural design for that back?
For the back, I gave you and it actually didn't turn out that well. When I looked at the agenda, the picture I had was fairly light, but it didn't sort of copy that well. I just basically took it was really dark in one of the pic. There you go.
Oh, that?
It's this, but so it's basically just like a big rectangular shape, 30 by 20. It's very, and I think the ridge height was 14 feet, I believe. It's not a particularly tall building or anything. And I was hoping to put a bathroom out there and obviously power. And beyond that, I hadn't really gone much further with my plans, other than that I'd like it to be the same materials as the house.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like it to be the same materials as well, but
Okay.
I don't know that I can tell enough from that photo.
Yeah.
And I can't tell things like, what is the slope of the roof?
Yeah.
And what are the windows that you're doing? And
yeah, the roof was the pitch was 5 and 12. It's on that. Yeah, it's on the spec page. And the windows, I would just most likely, I guess, just use the same as I used on the house. That if they have enough, if they have a smaller scale sort of
Yeah.
thing. Over 2.
Will this be visible from the street, your little shed at the back?
That's a good question. It will be quite far set back, because I was hoping to put it in that back corner, which I think would mean you'd be 25, 50, 75. You'd be over 100 feet back on the lot.
Yeah.
So it's a good ways back. I think if it were, because it's placed on the corner there, I think you would have only a portion of it possibly very visible from the street.
Yeah.
That right hand.
Like it's very difficult. This is Rachel again. It's very difficult to see from your photo what you're actually intending, but the impression is that it doesn't necessarily fit with this sweet little design you have for your home. Like the proportions don't feel the same, and it just feels like a very ordinary shed.
What would improve it? Making it look a little bit more homey, or?
Well, like, and honestly, it could just be, it's very difficult in this image to see. So all I can tell is that it has a relatively low slope roof, and it has relatively few windows, and it doesn't look like they have grids on them.
No,
and I mean, even the slope that you have on the home is just, it's a little steeper than 512, and it just has some kind of architecture to it. And I understand it's way back, and
Rachel, there is I think it's a 40-inch oak tree here, which I do believe Carol will be removing.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind
So
too.
it's staying or going, that tree, Becca?
Do you know, Becca? Because I had asked the tree committee to go out and take a look, because Chad Crosby from Low Country Trees came out to take a look, and he felt like it was either dead or dying. And I just asked the tree guys.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Salisbury, our arborist, can go out there and look at it. Obviously the little accessory building would be much more visible if the oak isn't there. But I
Right.
just wanted to clarify that for everyone. So, I mean, if you haven't officially applied to have the tree removed, then the arborist hasn't come out. But I mean, tomorrow I
He-
can.
I did put in the application a few weeks back, and I did speak with him, and he has already been out. And I asked him what happened next, and he said that nothing would happen next until this process goes through.
Right.
So,
Well,
but yes, he has been to look.
Would we be able to defer this, Becca, until we actually had like real plans and elevations that we could look at? Like I'm not sure we can really make a decision on the little shed with the information provided, whereas the house with the changes that we've discussed, I think would be
applying for final. I don't believe. I think this is preliminary. So he's gonna come back again.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just trying to find out if that was even a possibility, and I was just giving you that's roughly how big I would want it to be and where it would sit. And then I wasn't going to move forward with spending any more money on plans until I kind of got a bit of a gauge.
Yeah.
Whether that would work even.
Yeah.
So guys, this is Tim. To move this along, I'd like to go ahead and make a proposal that we give our preliminary approval based upon the comments that we've made, and that naturally we'll have final approval. And just with, I guess the comments that the house, the slab on grade or the elevated slab was fine, but with traditional front porch, I think nobody had a problem, I don't believe, with the chimney either being there or not being there, and the dependent building or the rear building in the back, picking up more of the architectural details from the house.
Right. Would second that.
This is Beth. I wanted to make a suggestion. Right around the corner from you, there is a little cottage, and it has so much character and personality. And this home as well. I mean, it's just, it will fit beautifully on that street. But the way they've made an addition many years ago to that little cottage. I think it's a breakfast room or something, but it just flows and fits right in. Ooh. And I would like to see the same personality that's in the main house to be in the little workshop in the back.
Gotcha. Right. So just make it look a little nicer.
Yeah.
Than now. Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of the scale, roughly, am I okay where I am, sort of thing, with that sizing?
Becca, does it fit the zoning for the size?
It does. The only thing that we would have to look at, and Carol and I had discussed this before, is, the impervious surface allowance, which, I think we talked about a gravel driveway and things like that. And especially now that it's going to be a workshop rather than a garage, I don't think we're going to have any issues there. But as far as setbacks and height requirements, she's fine.
Okay. All right.
Carol, this is Tim. One last question. Where do you plan to park?
Well, I was hoping that I would pull in on the left there. Do I not have enough room?
Oh, I'm not saying, I was just curious.
Well, I was hoping to run a gravel driveway down the left-hand side of the house there.
Okay, gotcha.
All the way back to the little cottage. All the way back to the workshop?
I could maybe run something on the right. I don't know. I kind of put the house right in the middle there so that you can tell I have trouble making decisions. So I kind of hedged my bets and put the house just in the middle because I hadn't quite decided which way I would go in. I could also maybe do a semicircle at the front or something and just pull in that.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, we'll see that on the final plans. I was just curious.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's charming. I love it.
This is David. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. One, you talked about being unsure about how nice stucco would look on the base of the house.
Yeah.
Something you could do is do a tabby finish, put shells in the stucco.
Okay.
Right.
That looks nice. The other thing I wanted to make Sheriff, when Tim was talking about a traditional front porch, that would include the appearance of piers under each of the posts on the porch, so that
Right.
it has the appearance that it has in that previous rendering you had where it was going to
Yep.
be across.
Have appearance of peers. Okay, got it. I've written it down.
And
Other
this
than
is
that-
Jeff. This is Jeff, and just one other comment about that front porch. I believe Tim also means that it would have a wood floor instead of a concrete floor on that front porch.
Okay.
Right, correct.
Or some people have gone to brick.
Or brick, but not a
Yeah.
concrete floor.
Correct, correct.
Wood or brick floor. Okay. All right. I'm making all my notes.
All right.
Tim, you want to restate your motion?
Oh, my goodness. Let's see if I can. To preliminary approval for the plans as submitted with consideration to a
Elevated slab.
elevated slab, but with a traditional front porch. The chimney, either with or without, was okay. The outbuilding, workshop building was to pick up traditional elements from the house or pick up more elements from the house to make it more residential feeling. And I think everything else we'll see final details at. So
Yeah. You had said a specific height, 3 feet
oh,
previous.
thank you. 3 feet off the ground, 3 feet from the final grade to the finished floor.
Do I have a second?
Minimum.
Second. This is Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. Let's vote. Jeff,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Cecile, Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
and I vote yes. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. I'm excited to move forward. I'll go on Pinterest. I'm sure I can find something cute for the back. I may disappear for a week in the process going on Pinterest, but I'll be back. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our next project is 210 South Gum Street. It's a new construction of a carport attached to an existing garage. Is the owner here?
Yes,
Okay. You got the floor, sir.
I believe Jordy Tupper is also on the line or on the,
Okay.
but
I
this is
saw
a
him.
carport that I'd like to put next to an existing garage. I've had some tree damage to 2 vehicles on my property. And this would be to the right of the existing garage that's shown in this picture. And it would be open on the front and back, and it'd be adjacent to that wall that you just saw there.
Questions, anyone?
Can you tell us the colors, please?
It'd be white with an existing asphalt shingle roof to match the garage that's there.
What's that other picture, Tom? I couldn't figure out why that was in there.
Which one?
Not that one. Keep going back.
That's the front of the house.
Yeah,
That's my
the
house.
front of the
That's the house there.
Oh,
This
gotcha.
sits, and
This is
the
way
garage-
back behind that.
Yeah, the existing garage and the proposal sits to the rear of all of this.
Okay, gotcha. And that existing garage stays, right, Tom? You're not
Yes.
demolishing
Yes.
that. So
Not
where is this?
gonna change it.
So where does this one go exactly? I'm looking at
It's
that.
to the right of the existing garage on the diagram.
Oh, it goes there. Gotcha.
yes.
I understand now. Thank you.
You know, we'll keep the setback requirements and go out near the setback issue.
Gotcha.
And it's just a simple carport. And what I'm working with Jordy on is even eliminating the support post in the back. So I make sure I have access to drive through the carport to get to the back area there. That would be the only possible change from the drawing.
is that open, like slats on the side?
Yes, yeah, put some slats on the side there just to close it off from the neighbor, but make it open some, airflow will go through there. And the only reason for the height difference is to allow a pickup truck to go under there because it will not fit in my pickup truck I have will not fit in the garage that I have.
You ought to lower it.
Any questions?
What, I can't zoom in close enough to actually get the height. Like, what is the clear height you have to go under the garage or under the roof?
Looks like it says 8 feet.
Oh, 8 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I
have just a regular pickup truck. It's not really one of those really.
yeah,
big,
yeah. I mean, I think based on this, I make a move that we approve the design as presented. And if you'd like to remove the rear column, he's welcome to do so.
I would second that.
Who was that?
That was Tim. Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you, Tim. All right. Take vote, yes or no. Jeff?
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes.
Cecile? Beth?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So, Tom, have at it.
Thank you. And Mr. Dixon, I hope that our mail doesn't keep getting mixed up there. I'll try to give you your mail that I get. So.
I know yours and mine and 210 3rd South Street. But hey, she's retired, so maybe the new one won't do that.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Our next one is 114 West Richmond Street. It's a new construction of a detached garage. Mr. Boshane, I saw that you were on a while back.
Hello,
Ah, there you go.
you hear me?
Well, tell us about it, please, sir.
Okay, yes, sir. Yeah, it's just a small 2-car garage that I want to add to the house that I'm about to build. I haven't started yet. I've been trying to get my finances in order to see what I could afford, and this is what I think I can do. So I'm ready to submit. I wish I would have done it with the house, but I wasn't quite ready for it. But anyway, it's basically going to match that house right there. As far as the trim, the eave will look the same. Windows will be the same. Probably just do a fiberglass door on the side. The windows and the doors will be facing the street. The other two sides, the garage doors will obviously be facing the house. The other two sides are in the kind of tucked away, so I didn't put any really detail on the walls there other than just the hardy siding.
So Ozzy, help me. Ozzy, this is Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, I'm a little confused. So that site plan, so you're building a garage for a future house? Is that what?
No. I'm going to park my cars in there.
Okay. And so this is in this plat plan here, the house is right there below that, correct? That's
Correct.
The house there?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's really the only place I could put it, Tim, in the property.
You're right.
There's a drain that runs through the property, and I can't put it on top of that drain.
Right.
Stormwater.
Gotcha.
If you see that inlets, the 2 inlets right there.
Yes.
So it kind of limited to where I could put it. So I had to just fit it in there. It's within the setbacks, so everything's fine.
And Beck, can you show us the front of the house, of Ozzy's current house?
That's it.
That's it right there. Okay.
Yeah, but
So
I'm gonna do shingle roof instead of the metal.
Okay.
The 3-tab, no, not 3-tab, but
Gotcha.
architectural shingles.
This is the house you plan to build there.
Yes. So it'll have the same 2/2 windows. They won't be as high as those, but the same width. I think they're 2'8".
But we've already approved the house, right?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. I just couldn't remember that part. Thank you.
It'll be a white, you know,
for reminding
all
me.
the same colors, nothing out of the ordinary.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I was late in submitting the overhead doors. Becca's got the copy of those. I emailed them yesterday to her. I forgot to put that in the packet, but it's they'll have,
Okay.
you know,
Can you remember pulling those up, Horace?
I'm on it.
Ozzy, this is Beth. Hey,
Hey, Beth.
I wanted to ask you, are you planning to actually park your vehicle back there?
Yes. Well, you know,
How-
I've got an old car. It's mostly from my old car.
Okay. Oh, yeah. How are you going to drive through? Where's the driveway?
The driveway drives straight in. It shows it on that site drawing.
Okay.
So a lot of times on these garage doors, this is Tim, I'm sorry, we've done the carriage style doors.
Yeah, I wouldn't plan on putting any hardware on, you know, magnetic hardware or anything like that. These are just typical metal doors with the 4 lights above, clear 4 light.
Yeah, is there anything in the design guidelines, Becca? It seems like I remember that got added in there, what the garage doors needed to look like.
Let me.
Or does anybody remember?
Yeah, I think there is, Tim. I remember going over that.
I vaguely do too.
The doors that I'm proposing they're called raised colonial. So they'll have detail in the panels. I think it's 4 across and 3 high. So 12 panels with the light, the 4 lights across.
Your drawing shows 3 lights across. Is it 4 lights across?
It's 4. That's not accurate. But the door that I submitted, it's a Rainer. I got the quote from Acme Doors, so it's not a Lowe's product.
You can't drink a beer at these meetings.
No, that's water.
You're
Straight
making us
water.
all jealous.
I just want that background that Tim has.
Yeah, I know.
Are you
I wish I
there?
was-
Are you?
Don't we all?
I don't see anything specifically about the garage doors, Tim.
Okay.
I mean,
remember
I'm
us talking about it. Maybe it's just previous submittals we've talked about it.
Yeah, we have talked.
There's no funky detail in it or anything. It's just a standard door. I'm not trying to get fancy.
What are the colors of your door?
White,
So white door, white trim, white building.
all white with a
Okay.
black roof. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I'll have a water table to match around the perimeter like the
Mhm.
house has. And it shows in that detail, the elevation detail. I don't know that it'll probably be a 2x10. All the trim will be treated KDAT lumber.
The elevation that faces the street, Ozzy, what does it look like?
That's it right there
That's
with
it
the
right
door
there.
and the windows.
Okay.
The other 2 sides are pretty much tucked in the it'll be a buffer with landscape. You won't really see them.
Mhm.
Can you go back to that elevation facing the street? I mean, I would ask you, like, if we could do something, if it is facing the street, can the center window be centered on the building? And is it possible to bring the door in so that it's equally spaced, like around that center window? Would that work for you to have the function in your garage if you had that center window centered and then the door and the window on each side equally spaced?
I'm not following you. You want the door in the middle of the unit?
No, no, I'm saying right now, the window that's in the center is not actually in the center of the, like it's not centered in the wall. It's
Okay.
slightly to one side than the other. So I'm just asking you, can first of all, that window that is in the center actually be in the center of that face?
Mm-hmm.
And then just slightly readjust where the door goes so that the door and the two windows, just so it's a symmetrical
Sure.
thing facing the street.
So bring the right window and the door off the center line and
That's
evenly
right.
spaced.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that the center window is on the center and the two are other like equal to it. So it's a symmetrically balanced, like spacing between them.
My only concern would be anything to the left of that door would just be dead space because you really couldn't be able to do anything. That's why I've kind of got it tucked in the corner.
Right.
I
So
was debating whether to put one window in there to give me more wall space in the garage, but I figured it'd look better with two windows.
yeah, it would. So you're gonna have some kind of like storage shelving or bench along?
It'll be a full-blown garage. I'll have tools and everything else in there.
Yeah. Well, what if you went the other way? What if you had this window that was in the center and then the window that was on the right of it is moved over so it's symmetrical?
Yeah. I could play around with it.
Yeah. Symmetry pleases human eye. So if it could have symmetry, it would be, it would look prettier.
Gotcha.
So Becca, I sent you an email. This is Tim again. I sent you an email. Maybe you could pull that email up.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm a little bit stuck on the garage doors. I don't have a problem with anything else really, but we have traditionally, I'm trying to remember back to previous applicants, we've always kind of insisted on like a carriage door, carriage style door, not an actual carriage door. And I tried to send you two pictures off. I just Googled off the internet.
Give me just a second. I have to open up my email. I'm on my husband's computer.
All right. And if nobody else feels that way, it's okay. I just was trying to remember the precedent we've set in the past.
We have asked for carriage doors before, Tim, and I had thought about that for this particular one, but was wondering if the way that it was cited, with it not facing the street, that it might be okay to have, if it was a white siding, white doors, white trim, that it would be, and then facing into the property, not facing the street, that it might be not visible and acceptable to have, just the doors with the panels on it.
What's the sight like coming down the street, Ozzy? How much do you see these doors if you're coming down the street?
Well, obviously from coming from Congress, you wouldn't see them at all.
Right. But the other direction you would.
Coming the other direction, it just you might see a little bit of it, but I don't know.
I just drew a little line on my site plan, and you can see it obliquely, Tim, but it is an oblique view.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of on a curve. The lot is on a curve. The house would block most of the garage as you drive by. You'd have to really do a 90 degrees to look into the yard to see it, I think. I don't know.
Sure. Okay.
There might be a slight line.
Okay.
Well, if you have any leftover money, think about doing the carriage side.
Doing what? What was that, Dr. Price?
I said if you end up with any extra money before you're finished, think about switching to the carriage style.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't really know. Are the carriage style doors more expensive? I think they're all about the same price, aren't they?
I don't, yeah, I think it's probably a little bit more just for the, you know, I don't know. I didn't price them, to be honest with you. Probably not much more. It's just,
Yeah, I think it's nominal. It might actually you might just think about it overall. You're going to be looking out your house at those doors. You'll be doing the most.
yeah, I mean, it might give it some depth or some details, something.
Yeah.
Might just make it feel a little keeping to the neighborhood.
Ozzy, if it's equal and there really isn't a big price change, I would encourage you to consider doing the carriage style. I think it would fit. I think it would fit your main house better.
I'll take a look at it for sure. I wouldn't be adverse to doing it if the cost wasn't significant. You know, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't too crazy expensive.
Yeah, because that little hardware that goes on there is just kind of decorative.
It just pops it out a bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, are we ready to make a motion with the issues that we've discussed?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I make a
other
motion that we approve this design with the owner to review whether or not he can add carriage style doors for a similar budget and to slightly tweak the elevation facing the street so it's symmetrical.
The windows.
The windows, the pattern of the windows and the doors, just so that there's symmetry in that face.
Sure. That won't be a problem.
Got a second?
I'll second. This is Beth.
Thank you. All right, let's take a roll. Jeff,
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Cecile, Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
mine is yes. So
Thank
Ozzy,
you.
have at it.
I appreciate it, guys. I just hope this whole thing will get over with so I can get started on this thing. I'm ready to moving some trees.
Yeah, I can understand that.
All right.
folks.
Well,
All righty. Thanks, Ozzy.
Thank you, Ozzy.
thank
Good
you,
night.
guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for your help.
All right.
Take care. Yep. Bye-bye.
Becca, do you have anything for us?
My only comment would be if you guys want to change the guidelines to have something specifically about the garage doors, we can take a look at doing that. Because the document, you know, Jesse and I can edit it and it doesn't have to go back before council. I think that would be something that we would have to, you know, take a vote on at a meeting or, I mean, if you want to now, since it's come up, you know, and it's something that y'all seem to mostly agree upon.
Right.
But if you want to take some time to think about it, don't feel the pressure to make that decision now.
Can we have it be, I mean, the guidelines are our recommendations. It's not that they're required. So I think that we should say that we do prefer the carriage style garage doors.
Okay.
Because we consistently say that in every one.
We do.
And if someone says, well, I'm doing a garage and you literally can't see it from the street, then we'd be willing to entertain that. But I think we should put it in.
And
Yeah,
Becky,
especially-
look one more time. I swear we put it in because we even talked about not the vinyl applied hardware, that it
Correct.
had to be.
Do you know,
actual metal.
I remember that, Tim. We did talk about it. It wasn't just the stick-on hardware.
Yeah. So I believe it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, I looked under the guidelines for garages and outbuildings, and then I also looked at residential construction and standalone.
Okay.
Do you know,
Yeah, I didn't see anything either.
it could be we're just remembering a specific project where we,
Yeah, could be. Yeah, that's probably what it is.
yeah.
Okay.
Good,
We can
Jesse.
get something put together that we can take a look at a later time then. Thank you,
Yeah,
Becca.
I'll work on something and then send it to y'all, and you can take a look at the verbiage I use, and if you want to change it, we can do that. And then Jesse or I can go in and edit the document and make it official.
Okay, that sounds great.
All
But I
right.
don't have anything other than that.
Okay.
Other than to say, you know, if you guys, are you guys comfortable with the way things went?
It's a little
Yeah.
awkward.
Hopefully we don't
Yeah.
have to do it very often.
Well, thank goodness we've all worked together for quite a while and we kind of work together. We do work
Yeah.
together, so it's helpful.
Yeah.
Hey, Becca, before we go, I sent you since we do a lot of garages, I sent you a picture of a well-detailed garage. Maybe you could pull that up before we go and just let everybody look at that. It's a good example of, for our historic district, probably what a good looking garage kind of looks like.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'll pull it up. All right.
Somebody who was actually in the meeting sent this to me, or was watching the meeting sent this to me during the meeting. But anyway, that's a good looking garage right there.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of little details on there, like the
Yep.
corner, the way the boards are treated at the bottom of the wall. And,
Yeah.
you know,
It's if we're gonna do a garage, that's the perfect one, isn't it?
yeah, it's a good
Nice lighting, nice windows. It's symmetrical, little exposed rafter tails. If it
Right.
had a metal roof on it, it would be,
one. It'd be perfect.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
nice garage doors, you know, I mean, just the whole thing looks nice, trim. It's just great.
The hardware, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
yeah.
So Becca, if people come in, you can give them that picture and say, make it look like this, and they'll be happy.
Yeah, maybe I can drive around the historic district and see if I can find some to take pictures of. That's what Jesse had me do my first week, and I got very lost.
Yeah.
Well,
Lord knows that-
it's time to go back and have another look then.
Yeah.
I know.
Lord knows the number of projects we've had in the recent past for garages. Some of them should be built by now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that too, so we can have an example for people.
All righty. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great
All right.
night.
I
All
need a
Thank you.
motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Yes, second.
Second.
I.
Everybody say
Aye.
goodbye by turning it off.
Yep. Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Becca and Leo.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
How do I get out of here?